What is up, mutants and muggles? I'm keeping the intro, but I'm changing my tone. No more of this leading with negativity bullshit. I am in too good of a position to complain about things all the time. That's not really the point of this vlog. I'm going to get right to the good news. I am officially 1 month into remission from stage 4 metastatic melanoma. It's the third time in my life I've been able to say that, which is pretty strange. This is my third remission. But that was confirmed yesterday by the results of me getting a brain MRI. They said, nothing going on in your brain, which I've been told so many times in my life. But when it comes to cancer, that's a pretty good result. So we get to celebrate that. I also think it's important to highlight and celebrate these little milestones, like 1 month into remission, because even though I've done this 3 times, this is a new round of cancer. This is a new round of recovery. This is a different version of a diagnosis and treatment that I have ever gone through. And at some point in time, you need to have these kind of like moving the chains wins in order to keep your mental health intact. That's a lot of why I make this vlog. I want to give a realistic representation of what it's like to go through this situation, because it can get a little hairy if you just say, okay, I've seen all this before. I'm jaded by having cancer again. I don't need to feel positive about these little check marks. No, I absolutely do. I think that's something that I fell into a little bit in the last few weeks, is saying, okay, well, I've been at this point of recovery so many times, like getting to the finish line of treatment isn't this momentous occasion. It's just a checkbox. And that's not true, because anytime you get to remission, which is NED, you should be incredibly, incredibly happy that you've gotten there and you've been given the opportunity to have more life. And so 1 month in is actually pretty important. Each month that I can tick off right now, it spikes my chance of survival as I don't have a recurrence. Because at some point in time, regardless of a stage 4 diagnosis and recurrences, I've had these like small spots every time. And it's never felt like I was in immediate danger. I've never felt like, oh, this cancer is threatening my life immediately. It's always just been, okay, we have to nip this in the bud. And we have, and I've been lucky. But if this was to come back, now, or in the next couple months, that would be a pretty big representation of, oh shit, this is way more serious and aggressive than we thought. So 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, I'm going to document all these and I'm going to be happy about all of them. And similarly, since my last 2 posts were about me being depressed or burnt out, I kind of, sized up the situation. I talked about it in each episode, in which maybe depression isn't the right descriptor, but it's more like I just went through a year of treatment. I just lived in another country for 3 months while I was pursuing something that was a very big goal of mine. I finished both of those things concurrently, and the physical and mental letdown seems a little inevitable. It's very appropriate for me to be where I am. But if the diagnostics that I've come up with are more likely to be burnout than depression, well, you can be burnt out and content. I can say, okay, I'll sit in this little cloud for a while, let myself get through it, but I don't need to whine about it all the time. And I don't think that's necessarily what I've been doing, but I don't think that's representative of how I want to approach this. I've gone out of my way, or at least it's just been my personality, to approach this cancer diagnosis and the ramifications with as much positivity as I can. It is somewhat acceptable for a recurring stage 4 cancer patient to be a little pissed about the situation, but I don't think that's going to give me the best chance to succeed in life, whether it's with my physical health or my mental health, or just the structure that I have remaining after this cancer diagnosis and if something else happens. So let's focus on the cool things, right? And the main cool thing that I brought up at the top of this video is that the brain MRI that I took on Friday came back clear. It's Sunday as I record this. And I do also want to highlight the really great job that the radiology team and then the oncology team at UCLA did to get me my results in like 2 hours. And these are small things in the custodial chain of how cancer patients are treated, but they're important to individuals like myself. And I know I've talked to thousands of other patients who talk about how communication is handled and the timing. And, my oncologist reached out personally to me, which is great. But a 2-hour turnaround, especially on a Friday when there could have been a weekend full of waiting, is a big deal. And even though it was very likely that the brain MRI I was doing was going to be clean, it was kind of the last diagnostic checkpoint before I was officially in remission. Because melanoma cannot be detected in your brain by PET scans. I should learn why. I'll tell you all about it next time. Maybe we'll do a video on that. But that's another strange part about my in remission definition right now, because I was kind of in remission when I started doing treatment 12 months ago. Because I was technically no evidence of disease, which would be maybe technically in remission when I started doing treatment. I had one spot in my lymph node in my groin. I started doing treatment. We excised it. All the cancer was dead when I started doing treatment. So every one of my subsequent scans has been clean. But the definition of remission, not that it really matters, but the goal or whatever of a stage 4 metastatic melanoma patient who's in remission is to get to 5 years. At 5 years, most cancers are considered soft cured, which doesn't guarantee anything. I mean, you can have a recurrence after 5 years for any of these cancers, but usually oncologists are comfortable saying, okay, if it hasn't recurred in 5 years, you're pretty good to go. I got to 4 years once, and technically it would have been 5 years. Same situation. I started my treatment my first time as NED, but the way that I understand it and my oncologist has explained it to me is that you kind of want to be out of treatment so that you know it's your body operating on its own that is keeping cancer away for X amount of time. So I'm 1 month into that, but I haven't had any active cancer in my body for about a year. And it's all very weird to size up. And at some point, I think the answer is ultimately, it doesn't matter. My case is unique to myself. And the way that we have to approach it is just going to be, do you have cancer? We'll treat it. If not, let's keep on trying to live. And hopefully at one point, I just never have to go back in for treatment. So we'll see if this is the time. And I think tying those two ideas together, the how I want to approach this round of remission and how I want to approach moving forward, I also have much better tools this time around. That is what I get out of, 7 years of experience of being a cancer patient and building a support network, both via my online community, this vlog and posting on Twitter, among other things, and having friends who understand me and my diagnosis and my situation a little bit better. What's not cool is my room as I'm trying to record in 100-degree heat with the light on me. I keep trying all these different places and setups to record because I'm bad at videography and editing. And this is the hottest one I think I've done yet. I do not recommend sweating your ass off while trying to talk about cancer. So there's a little bit of a complaint I can get in. But one thing that I noticed when I posted the last 2 vlogs is that I had friends both in real life and online who reached out and said, hey man, you doing all right? This is not particularly how you normally respond to things. And to some degree, they're correct. I don't think I'm a generally negative person, but I got caught up a little bit in this vlog being the distillation of my feelings because, we're doing the breaking the third wall thing about how and why I produce this, but I usually try and have some sort of update about my case or my life that pertains to cancer. And if the update is, okay, I'm in remission, but I'm pretty bummed out. As I broke it down and as I explained it to you guys, the why is kind of ambiguous. It's just burnout is not easy to diagnose, especially when it's the tail end of a long, long thing you've been doing. And for all I know, this could turn around in 2 days. This could extend for 2 more months. I don't know. And I'm not going to try and force my way out of it. It's not like, oh, just why have you tried not being burnt out thing. Historically, it doesn't go so great. But what has made me feel better in talking about this and, allowing myself to have these negative moments somewhat publicly is that the response that I'm getting is people who care about me. And when you have people who care about you and you have a lot of resources and support in your corner, it makes it easier to push yourself to try and find the help, to try and reach for a hand. Because at some point, that's what community is. You play a role in how you're received and how people reach out to help you. So I get to feel good about the work that we've all done to make me feel better. It's a little bit selfish. But look, within a cancer diagnosis and even in remission, you need to be a little bit selfish. You need to say, hey, can I lean on you right now? And so everyone who reached out and everyone who is thinking of me all the time, thank you for that. It's very nice. I get to be selfish in this moment. And I think that word moment is important for what I'm trying to capture in this video right now. This is a good moment for me. Getting a clean brain MRI, that's a great moment for any metastatic melanoma patient. Being 1 month into remission, that's an important milestone. Even just 1 month for my 3rd remission, in the scheme of things, I have to go through a lot and I've been through a lot. But if someone can watch this who's going through treatment for cancer and say, look, that guy got to remission, that guy is 1 month into remission, I can potentially get there. Obviously, I and my example don't help the medical portion of getting through treatment, but I do believe that your mental health and your approach to this stuff is very important, and positivity is a very important part of this. That's not to say I'm not going to bring you negativity and complaints in some other vlogs, but this one is happy. I'm going to try and continue to be happier when I give you all results and talk about where I'm at in life, because I have a lot to be happy about. So if you're still here, thank you for spending your time to listen to me be a little bit more cheery this time rather than the last 2. And I'm going to try and keep bringing you those updates. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all next time. Bye.